Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my podcast. Someone has asked me how my first year as a podcaster has been and if I recommend podcasting. Well, today is the 22nd of August when I'm making this video. I'm not going to publish it today, but it's a year ago since I published my very first episode of the Orgasmic Lifestyle podcast by Venus O'Hara. And it's been an incredible learning experience. I've learned so much about just pressing record and speaking. I think the speaking part has been, I think I have been a bit more explicit than I have in my videos because I was just on my own speaking to a wall and not really thinking about who's listening to all of my secret things. But people have been telling me for a very long time to actually make a podcast. And at first I really couldn't be bothered to learn a whole new skill set. I mean, learning about recording audio, about microphones, editing audio, uploading onto different platforms, it all seemed very complicated. But then when I came across a podcasting agency, I thought, well, this makes things so much easier for me. And this particular agency going to do everything for me. For example, the logo, guest outreach, editing, uploading, episode descriptions, guest interview questions. All I had to do was just take my time make time to record my monologues. And we actually had weekly meetings to actually come up with the format. And I wanted to make a format that was kind of like my dream radio show. For example, it has a monologue at the beginning where I talk about the kind of subject in question, and then which is always associated with the guest I am interviewing. Then there's an interview with the guest who is always a thought leader. They're very often authors, TED speakers, and they are very successful in their fields. I also wanted to go to the format, but then after that I do a book review, and then I end with a meditation, which is affirmations meditations, which is also linked to the topic in question. The only thing that's not linked to the topic in question is my book review. It's called The Book I'm Reading Now, which is completely unrelated because I'm always reading. But I wanted to kind of branch out from sexuality. That's another reason why I started a podcast, because I love sexuality so much. I believe that it's the subject that moves the world. It's the most important subject. But at the same time, I've been a sexual wellness content creator since 2009, and sometimes I feel a little bit saturated, and I think my way of expressing or sexuality is very different from lots of things that I see around me, and sometimes I find that other people don't really want to portray the beauty of sexuality. It's just the kind of like the kind of nasty side of it, which it might be okay for some people at some times, but that's not really what I want to be associated with in my work. So I really wanted to kind of get away from that a little bit, but not kind of eliminate the sexuality from my work, not at all. It's more about presenting it in a more lifestyle context, in among other topics such as spirituality, nutrition, health, sobriety, and other things that I really love, and also veganism, which is something I'm very, very passionate about. Because sexuality is a massive topic. It encompasses art, health, lots of good things in life. Even nutrition, there's a sexual approach, or it has a direct effect on your body. There's no doubt about that. Nutrition definitely helps to have a better sexuality. So I wanted to kind of like branch out of the sexuality, and also I do believe that makes sexuality more digestible and more powerful, because it's not just hidden topic, of taboo topic in the corner that no one wants to talk about. It's like part of my ideal magazine that would have books, lifestyle, health, and all these other topics in a bit of sexuality. I guess it's kind of like my own kind of audio cosmopolitan, but in my style. Yeah. And yes, it's been an incredible situation. And one thing that's been the most exciting thing has to be interviewing the thought leaders that I have interviewed. I have a shelf of books behind me I'm looking at right now, that has all of the books of the authors that I have interviewed. And I really do love reading, and it's kind of a solitary process. But to actually interview the author at the end of it is an incredible experience. It's a real privilege. And it did make me a little bit starstruck sometimes. And in some cases, I told my podcasting agency which topics I was interested in, and then they would find the guests for me based on the topics that I wanted to include. And oftentimes I would receive an email saying, Calendly, so-and-so has booked an interview. And I was like, who is this person? And I would check on their social media, and I would see that they were very well known. They had books, they had a very big following. I was like, oh my God, they're going to be on my podcast. And then I had like a week to read their book and kind of find out all about them. But fortunately, I didn't have to think about the questions because my agency did that. But I would also always add a few of my own based on what I was reading in their book. So it was always a little bit more personal. Because I do think that I've done promotions before when I published my books, and many times the people who were interviewing me did not read my book. It takes time to read a book. It's an investment of time and energy. But in my podcast, I always read the books of my guests, and I think that's an extra kind of, it's a unique selling point for sure. And what else have I learned in this year of podcasting? I think at the beginning, I thought that my agency were going to edit me a bit more, because I was just talking and making some mistakes, and I was thinking, oh, someone's going to listen to this and they'll know that bit should come out, or maybe the filler words, because I do Toastmasters as well, which is a public speaking school or protocol, and I've been going for about 3.5 years now, and there is a big emphasis on not using filler words. And I know that there is software that exists that just kind of it removes all filler words from that's a filler word, from an audio file. And I thought someone was going to kind of go through my audio and do that. But then when I listened to it, I was like, oops. So the good thing about it is that has made me a bit more mindful about how I'm speaking, and just a bit more confident and not worrying about mistakes, just pressing that record button and speaking, and knowing that that's a real challenge to actually just speak and do a one take wonder and not worry about censorship or going back and thinking, oh, that doesn't sound right, just doing it, and that's a great practice, and that's something that really is helping me as well with my public speaking practice. And what else? I do believe that I have been a lot more open and intimate about my life in my podcast, and if you listen to it, you'll know that I've shared some really personal things, but it just feels easier to actually speak to a microphone and a wall as opposed to a camera, as I'm doing now. But yes, there's going to be more Orgasmic Lifestyle coming along coming in the next few weeks. I've got some very exciting guests coming up. The next one is going to be really exciting. It's going to be a psychic. I interview a psychic, and I get a psychic reading during the episode, which is just amazing, and I'm going to share that, which is something very personal. But yeah, so I hope if you are interested in my podcast. Another thing I wanted to point out is that it's thanks to all my followers that I actually started the podcast, because so many people, I'm sorry about the screams in the background, but anyway, I have been making videos now for several years, and I've had many comments telling me that people love my soothing voice. And there are people who watch my sex toy reviews who have no interest or intention of ever buying one, but they like my voice. And some people even told me they watch my videos before bed just to go to sleep. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I kind of like the idea of taking my voice to another platform, let's say, and using it in a different way to make audio content. And that's it. So I have all of you people to thank as well for inspiring me to start the podcast. And if you haven't listened to it, check out the Orgasmic Lifestyle podcast by Venus O'Hara. I will leave a link in the description below, and I'll be back very soon with some more lifestyle videos. Thanks for watching.